Hi, welcome to the Geeky Guide to IVF. Thanks for tuning in. This is only video 2, so still quite new to this whole YouTubing thing. I have decided to take the leap, and I have uploaded my first video that I've made now to a new YouTube channel that I've created dedicated to the Geeky Guide to IVF. I know that I said in my first video that I was going to kind of wait until the whole IVF process was over and then decide if I wanted to upload anything. But actually, I sat on this for a month. I'm trying to remember when I made that video, but I think it was at least a month ago. We're now on the 10th of June. And I sort of sat on the video, I left it, I thought about it for a while, and I kind of investigated other avenues of catharsis, I don't know. But anyway, other outlets for kind of what we're going through or about to go through. Had a look on Instagram. I really just don't get on that well with Instagram. I'm not good with it, and I find it a bit intimidating. So, which you probably know from if you watched my first video, I was a bit like, ugh, don't like Instagram. I have actually created a Geeky Guide to IVF Instagram account. I don't know how active I'll be using it, but it is there. I think YouTube is the way to go because I can do my rambling videos, and if you want to watch them, you can watch them. If you don't, you don't have to, because it is just a kind of way for me to release my feelings, and yeah, hopefully one day could be useful to someone else if they're looking for an IVF journey playlist that's UK based. So I've decided that I am going to do these videos and I'm going to upload them as we go along. So it is now the 10th of June 2023, and in my last video I talked about the fact that we were told that I could have fibroids or a polyp of some sort, and that before we could start our journey on our journey, if you listen to BFM podcast you'll know that reference, but yeah, before we can start our IVF journey we need to work out whether or not that I had a fibroid or a polyp. So Dr. Rimington, my fantastic consultant at the London Women's Clinic, suggested an Aquascan, which I have now had. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about what that involves. Again, mainly because I spent the run-up to the Aquascan, which was on the 23rd of May, 2023, I spent the run up to that scan trying desperately to find a video somewhere, or even information online, written information online, about what to expect with an Aquascan. And maybe I'm not very good with the internet, but I couldn't really find anything. And I think maybe it might help for people who are about to have an Aquascan to hear about it from my perspective. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. I also had a HPV swab at the same time to check for any nasties, and then I'll tell you the results and the next steps. So yeah, welcome back to Geeky Guide to IVF. So, Aquascan. I was really nervous. I think I had read online about ones where they put dye into fallopian tubes, or like to see if fallopian tubes are blocked. And in my head I'd kind of got them a bit muddled up, and I'd read that those were a bit uncomfortable. So I was really worried. But actually it was really fine. I had to go to London, so we're not in Canterbury in the southeast, we're of England. We are outside of Canterbury, but that's probably our nearest big town. And that's where my clinic is, the London Women's Clinic. And I couldn't, so they said the scan had to be done between days 6 and 12 of my cycle. So they said as soon as your period finishes, you need to get in touch with us so we can book a scan in. So I was like, okay, cool, do that, that's no problem. Waited until my period ended, which is usually about day 5 to 6 of my cycle. Called them up, and they were only able to do Aquascans on a Monday to Wednesday. So bearing in mind that I can only have one on between day 6 and 12 of my cycle, and only on a Monday to Wednesday, they couldn't fit me in. There weren't the slots available. So they were like, well, you can either like wait another month and we'll fit you in next month. But I was kind of thinking, well, the same thing will happen again. Like, you're not going to get that much warning, and then to try and then fit me in, or you can go to London. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to London, and it's not exactly a big deal. It was a much longer process. So basically, I think I left at like, I don't know, 9 a.m. maybe. Got the train, and appointment was at 2, so I left myself obviously a ridiculous amount of time to get there, but I didn't want to be late, and I also didn't know where it was. And I kind of thought, once I get there, go find the clinic, and once I know where it is, I'll find somewhere in like a cafe or something, or a pub, and sit down and have a drink. So yeah, that and it basically took all day really, and my sister was really good. She came with me and met me. So yeah, I went to London for it, and then yeah, so day arrived, went there on the train. Took me a few hours or maybe like, I don't know how long the train journey was, but like quite a long journey to get there. And then, yep, found the clinic. Actually really easy to find it. It's on Harley Street, which again is really easy to find. I think I went to Regent's Park tube station, and it is like a 4-minute walk or something from there. So it was a really easy journey actually. I thought it was going to be really hard work, but it wasn't too bad. So yeah, went to this clinic, London Women's Clinic on Harley Street. They were so lovely. They were really kind and put me at ease straight away. And the Aquascan itself is a where they fill the uterine cavity with saline, so that like if there are any polyps or fibroids or anything, they kind of float, and then it's just easier to see it. So they inserted, oh God, I can't remember all the names of these things. The duck wedge thing that opens up your cervix. That, I can't remember what it's called, but one of those, put that thing in. Then they inserted a catheter that had a little balloon so they could seal off, like close my cervix, then put water, saline into my womb, into the uterus. And then and I was really worried that it was going to hurt, to be honest. I think I'm a bit of a baby, and I was worried about the pain. Because they also said, like Dr. Remington, our consultant, said, it can be a bit uncomfortable, so make sure you take some paracetamol or something before you go in, like an hour before your scan. And yeah, that worried me a bit, because health professionals always play it down, don't they? So when they say, it might be a bit uncomfortable, I'm like, yeah, okay, so it's going to really hurt then. Actually, he was quite honest. It was only a bit uncomfortable. It was not that bad. So anyway, yeah, they put the catheter in, inflated the little balloon so the water couldn't come out. Then it was kind of like, and I could see it on the TV screen, so that was really cool. I'll show you the pictures, because there's a picture now. This is my uterus with no saline, and then picture now, this is my uterus filled with saline. But anyway, yes, so they just sort of did it in little bursts of water, and it really actually wasn't that much water, because I was thinking like, you know how like you think about stupid things if you're anxious about stuff, and I was thinking in my head, I was like, well, my uterus is just going to fill with loads of water, and then how do I get up off of the table at the end? If I'm like going to get up, is there just going to be like this like water balloon gush of the water coming out at the end? I said that to my sister, and she was like, you do realise that your uterus is not like your bladder. Like, your uterus is the size, apparently, supposedly, it's the size of your clenched fist. Yeah, and that he probably wouldn't like put that much water in it. Apparently she was watching, and it was, I think she said it was about 20 ml that they put in, but they did it in little bursts of water, and each time they did a little bit more, my uterus obviously expanded, and that was the bit that was uncomfortable, because it did like a cramp, like a period cramp, that's what it felt like. But it was literally just for that moment when they put the water in, it did like a cramp, and I was a bit like, oh, and then it was fine. And then they'd have a little look, and then he was like, yep, bit more water, and then she'd put a little tiny bit more in, like another 5 ml or something, and again I'd feel a cramp, and I'd be like, oh, but then it was gone, and it was fine. And they did that about 5 or 6 times, I guess, and each time the cramp got a little bit more intense, but pretty much just went away. And all in all, I was probably only in the actual scanning for 10 minutes. It was really fine. It really, really was fine. And then when they took it all out again, that was fine. Like, there was no discomfort when he removed the cannula, is that what it was called? And there was no discomfort when he put a cannula in either. Yeah. Oh, and no sudden gush of water. They gave me a sanitary towel, which actually I had bought one with me anyway, but they gave me a sanitary towel afterwards to soak up anything that came out. And I did have a tiny bit of spotting afterwards, but he said that was completely normal as well. So but yeah, no gush of water, and the sanitary towel was not like soaking wet or anything afterwards. So if the water did come out, I didn't really notice it, and it wasn't loads. So it was pretty good. And I had a HPV test as well. I actually did that before the scan, which was because, again, linking back to the reason that we've gone private, is that I had kept trying to get a smear test with the NHS. I think I've tried about 3 times over the course of the last year, and they just kept getting cancelled, just repeatedly, for different reasons, just kept getting cancelled. So in the end, I said that to the consultant, and he said, actually, we do swabs for it now. He said, I don't know why the NHS is still doing the scrapey smear tests that they're doing, because he said, you can just do a swab. And he said, it actually, now, forgive me if these stats aren't right, because I'm doing it from memory, but he said it's something like the NHS smear tests pick up 70% of nasties, whereas the one that's just a swab, which is pain-free, picks up 90%. And he was like, I don't know why the NHS is still using it, because it's more expensive to run them, and they're slightly uncomfortable, and they're not as effective as the HPV swab that he gave me. So that I just did by myself. So like, a nurse showed me what to do. She was like, this is the pack, insert, swirl, take it back out, snap the end off, don't touch the bit that's been in you, and then they send it off. So I did that as well. And yeah, then so that was the 23rd of May 2023. Then I emailed on the 30th of May, which was so a week later, and just sort of said like, oh, have we got the results back from the HPV thing? And yeah, she said that the results are back. Sorry we didn't email you, but yeah, all fine, no issues at all. And the results of the Aquascan were that they could not see anything. He said that the womb lining looks really good, really smooth, no abnormalities. So if there was a polyp there, it's no longer there, which is amazing news, because that means no op. I haven't got to do an op, and the IVF process can hopefully start soon, which is so good, and I'm so excited. Nervous, but excited. So yeah, I really couldn't have asked for a better result. It was brilliant. And Craig is really, really happy too. Again, nervous, but really happy. So yeah, all in all, really good result. Aquascan was really smooth. So yeah, all good. I'm now going to tell you our next step. So on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, so today is what are we on? Saturday the 10th of June. So on Tuesday the 13th of June, Tuesday the 13th of June, we have a consultation with Dr. Remington, which we've asked for, but I think he told us that that's what we would need to do once the Aquascan was done. He's going to hopefully have reviewed the report from London Women's Clinic Harley Street about my Aquascan, and he will hopefully agree with the consultant from Harley Street that there is no sign of a polyp and we can move forward. So I'm hoping that this meeting that we have with him on Tuesday will kind of be the launch pad, the starting meeting to talk us through the process of IVF and our timeline and things like that. So yeah, I will tune back in on Tuesday to let you know what he says, and kind of hopefully let you know when we are going to begin our ICSI IVF cycle, which is very exciting. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. This has been the Geeky Guide to IVF, and see you soon. Bye.